So, in my opinion, Candace Owens, who I used to respect, has just gone off the rails in 2025. Okay? I could go back through her videos and tell you why I think that, but let's just start with this one here. She's just out there.
Nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good. Because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel, I was insisting that everybody read that book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson murders. And what we learn from that book is that if the government does want to hide something, what they do is they give you so much information that you can't, you don't even know what's real. So many different possible ways that things could have gone down, so many different manners, so many people speaking, so many publications publishing. And it's just meant to be chaotic, to drive you crazy and to just go, okay, I'm just going to accept whenever the authority says something and not prod any further.
So she's going to preface her own information here by telling you that people that want to confuse you will just give you way too much information, which is what she's about to do. Okay, let's continue.
I'll tell you who the exact source is and what video they presented. So the first bit of proof regarding that day happened at 8:07 a.m. According to TMZ, they have footage, and we're going to show you it, which shows a man at 8:07 a.m., so hours before the shooting, wearing a maroon t-shirt and light shorts, as you were seeing on your screen right now, hands in his pockets, that is just walking outside of university grounds, okay? Now, Governor Cox tells us that at 8:29, which is an interesting timeline, Governor Cox tells us that that is when the shooter, Tyler Robinson, arrived at UVU campus in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo. So essentially he's saying that what that person we saw walking down the street right there arrived on campus at 8:29. I'm going to allow you to hear Governor Cox say that himself. Take a listen.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
Already confusing to me is that TMZ shows him already walking. We're supposed to believe he walked, parked his car, and then walked onto campus. They're saying that after that video that you just saw of him walking, he got into his car and then drove to campus, and then at 8:29 p.m. on campus is when he arrives. Already confusing.
I think she meant a.m., not p.m., but okay.
But let's just keep going. We don't need to poke holes. Let's just keep going with the narrative.
So, you know, I always credited her with having critical decision-making skills. And what happens is, once you decide you're going to have an agenda, like a left or a right agenda instead of a unbiased agenda or viewpoint, your brain starts allowing you to just skip past critical thinking and help find things that will support your narrative, which is what she's doing here. It's obvious. So let's just pick apart this one first point of hers. So her first point of evidence that there's something going on here is this video from TMZ. I don't know where this video is from. Is it from the school? I don't know. Is the time right on their camera? I don't know. Is this the video that the governor's referring to, or is he referring to a completely different video? I don't know. Did the FBI refer to a completely different video that's about 20 minutes after this one, and we're unaware of this video, and so they would back up their statement now and say, well, I actually arrived at 8:02 because we didn't know of this video? I don't know. Did she check? I don't know. It sounds like she didn't. It sounds like she just went with whatever fit her narrative. So what are her alternatives here? Well, the time could be wrong on this video. The time could be wrong on the other video. The other video could be from a university camera. This could be from a Chuck E. Cheese down the road 20 minutes away. I don't know where this camera is. Is this the same video that the governor's referring to? I don't know. Neither does she. She doesn't tell us. She's left a lot of holes in her narrative here Let me give you an example of how I could explain this away right now. This camera is at a, I'm not saying that's what this is, but let's say this camera is at a TJ Maxx, okay, that has a basketball hoop. It's located outside the university, okay? And the guy walks past this 20 minutes before he walks past the camera the governor's referring to, and maybe that camera is only 100 feet from this camera, and it's an actual campus camera. And the guy stops at this tree right here for 20 minutes, twiddling his thumbs, and then walks past the other camera, which is what the governor sees. And so the assumption is, well, you know. So let's back up a little bit more to what the governor says to see if I can poke holes in my own theory here.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m.
Okay, so it's 25 minutes after this video that the subject shows up on a UVU campus camera, arriving in his car, getting out and walking away. Well, there's a problem with that statement, I think, because then again, actually, he could have done that, because what I was going to say is his car was actually not on UVU campus property after the shooting. That doesn't mean he didn't arrive on the campus with his car at 8:29, go do some things, reconnoiter, get back in his car, and leave and get his car off. So, yeah, the governor could be right here. As a matter of fact, I would think that that's probably what did happen. So let's look at this. The guy is somewhere. We don't know what this camera is. Is it on campus? I don't know. I'm going to go to TMZ and see if they identify the location of this camera. This guy could have parked somewhere totally different, got out, not on UVU campus, walked around, kind of looked around the campus a little bit. Is it okay for me to bring my car in here? Is there Secret Service here? Are they taking license plates of cars that pull into the UVU campus today? No, it looks okay. I'm going to go get my car and drive it onto campus now. In that 25 minutes, that could be what he's doing. We need to know where this camera is. Okay? So what I'm saying is, she is not doing due diligence on what she's reporting here. And she's been doing this for a while. She's really, really gone downhill. Okay? Okay, so this is there from TMZ, and it says, new footage shows Tyler Robinson casing path to campus, casing the path to the campus, hours before walking the same path to UVU. Let's go see what it says. New surveillance video shows Tyler Robinson, the man suspected of fatally shooting Charlie Kirk Wednesday, walking toward Utah Valley University's campus. Well, if he's walking toward the campus, that means he's not on the campus, doesn't it? Which means, would infer to me that this video is not the video the governor's talking about that came from UVU campus cameras. Because a UVU campus camera is not going to be located before the campus that he's walking towards. Candace. So let's see, blah, 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 seen all this. Authorities say he showed up to the campus in a green Challenger around 8:30 a.m., while our footage was recorded at 8:07 in the morning, about 4 hours before blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what is this telling us? I don't think it's telling us anything. What did she say in here? That they're lying about the 20 minutes? And hold on a second. I just want to keep reading this before I comment further. Okay, so what else does this say? New footage. Okay? This is new footage. And it's not the footage the governor is referring to. Okay? And this footage says he's walking toward the campus. Okay? So this fits my narrative, Candace, that says what he's doing here is, I don't want to drive my car on that campus quite yet. I want to see, are they out here taking down license plate numbers? Is the Secret Service out here? Which they shouldn't be. Am I going to get recorded somehow if I go on this thing with my car, I mean, let me go check out just how tight is security at this place. 20 minutes before I decide, well, now let me drive my car on campus because maybe I want to stash my gun near where I'm going to use it. I've picked a place to put it. I have some setup to do. I'm probably not going to make it walk in with a gun from the other side of the forest where I end up parking my car off campus, through the forest, past those houses, up towards the building. I need to get my gun closer. But before I start carrying a gun around here wrapped in a towel or broke down in a backpack, let me go see, are they actually really checking out the cars that come on this campus? Because I don't want my car recorded here by some security guard writing it down in a notepad that I was here at 8 a.m., okay, and I'm going to come back at 8:30 a.m., whatever. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Candace is really dropping the ball here. I think I've made a better explanation for what's going on here. We don't know where this camera is. Did TMZ tell us? Well, kind of. They told us he was headed towards the campus, which means this is not on the campus. Am I beating a dead horse here? So this one here, I give Candace a huge Pinocchio nose, okay, as she tries to create a narrative, create a conspiracy theory. Why? Because she needs clicks and money. All right, let's listen to the rest of what she has to say about this.
Now, Governor Cox tells us that at 8:29, which is an interesting timeline, Governor Cox tells us that that is when the shooter, Tyler Robinson, arrived at UVU campus in a plain maroon T-shirt, light-colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo. So essentially he's saying that what that person we saw walking down the street right there arrived on campus at 8:29. I'm going to allow you to hear Governor Cox say that himself. Take a listen. He shows him already walking. We're supposed to believe he walked, parked his car, and then walked onto campus. They're saying that after that video that you just saw of him walking, he got into his car and then drove to campus, and at 8:29 p.m. on campus is when he arrives. Already.
Yes, Candace, because he didn't want to drive his car straight into campus with his rifle that he's going to try and stash and have his car's tag recorded by some, Charlie Kirk henchman security guard. So he walked in past a non-UVU camera. Why do I think it's a non-UVU camera? Because UVU is giving all their camera stuff to law enforcement, right? Local sheriff, FBI, etc. They're not going to release any video or leak any video. So this is obviously a non-UVU camera that's been leaked to TMZ because they're not subject to all the scrutiny by law enforcement. Nobody's asked them for their... on and on. So anyhow, the guy walks into campus, looks around, says, oh, it looks pretty cool, looks pretty safe, then walks back to his car, drives it on campus. That would take about 20, 25 minutes, don't you think, to walk past this camera? Here's the other thing, TMZ. If he walked in, okay, why isn't he walking back out on the same camera? Here's the other question, Candace. Go ask TMZ this. If he came into campus, where is this camera at? Why wouldn't his car be seen driving by this camera? None of what you're presenting here makes any sense. What I'm saying makes a lot more sense. He parked his car probably where he ended up parking it to do the actual assassination, walked in some long way, scouted the area, walked back to his car, drove in a different road, okay, dropped off whatever he wanted to drop off or did whatever he wanted to do, and then left. Okay? But she doesn't bring up any of this because it doesn't fit her narrative of bait click.
Into his car and then drove to campus, and then at 8:29 p.m. on campus is when he arrives. Already confusing, but let's just keep going. We don't need to poke holes. Let's just keep going with the narrative. Then we're back to TMZ, and they release that at 11:49 a.m., they have footage of the shooter who has now changed his outfit. We're supposed to gather that, again, on a doorbell cam, and he's in a different outfit. So this is 11:49 a.m. Charlie Kirk has not yet been shot. Take a look at this. Okay, and for those of you that are listening to this on audio, you are going to see someone who appears to be limping. Okay, so maybe he changed his outfit at some point, and now he's limping. And the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants. Okay? That's kind of what's been floated. Okay? That does not particularly come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now, and he's got on a different outfit.
I just don't believe you're holding a whole rifle in your pants.
It didn't look like, because he was still bending his knee a lot. I feel like he couldn't. I mean, people do that. I've
A
seen
whole
people.
rifle? Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
people
yeah.
do
rifle's
that.
long,
They did that in
bro.
Chicago.
Yeah, we've reacted to
We've
videos of
seen
them in
videos of
Chicago
people
doing
doing
that.
Bro, a rifle.
Yes.
They do
People
that.
do that. I've seen.
Okay, so let me give you an alternative explanation for this video we're seeing here, right? Because I don't think her time of this video is in dispute. It's, is there a rifle in his pants? Well, could be. We know that on the roof there was a screwdriver with his DNA on it. While he's not bringing the screwdriver to adjust the scope willy-nilly for a distance shot, he's bringing the screwdriver for one purpose, to attach the wooden stock back onto the metal firearm to reduce its overall length. Okay? So it's possible that the wooden stock is in the backpack and the metal firearm is shoved down his pants leg. And I've heard the government say that that's a supposition they have. Their charging document mentions the limp. It also says that video from the stairway camera shows the limp goes away. So is it possible that he's broken the gun apart, shoved the longest part down his pants, and is walking through here with this limp because of that? Maybe. But you know what else it could be? Which goes hand in hand with what we just saw a second ago. He arrives on campus, walks around, scouts it out. I've got to get this rifle into this building, okay? It won't fit in my pants, okay? What's security look like? So I'll go walk around and scout and reconnoiter at 8 a.m., 8:07 a.m. Okay, it looks good. I'll go back and get my car and drive it on campus. Nobody's taking license plate numbers. Nobody's asking me for ID to walk around this building that I'm going to go into. So he drives his car back into campus, parks, gets out, and carries. And I'd have to look at the stair. I don't remember what they said they saw on the stairway camera, but he could have come in there at 8:30 a.m., whatever it was, the second time the governor says they saw him, and placed the rifle in the building in a secreted area, so he didn't have to get the rifle in there. But then why limp here at 11:30 in the morning? Because he thinks he's going to be picked up on Ring cameras, Ben and Jerry's camera, Dunkin' Donuts cameras, and he's providing information to those cameras for a suspect description after the shooting. The suspected shooter had a limp. Yes, now they're looking for some person. They don't know if it's male or female, but they know their right leg has a really bad limp. Okay, that could be what he's doing here. Candace, use your critical thinking skills and try to imagine why somebody would walk through a residential area that has a high probability of Ring cameras and why they would be limping in a way that really, gets your attention. Is it because they have a gun shoved down their pants with the wooden stock in the backpack? Or are they trying to provide misinformation to investigators post-shooting that we're looking for a person with a limp? Okay, let's go on.
I feel like he couldn't. I mean, people do that. I've
A
seen
whole
people.
rifle? Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
people
yeah.
do
rifle's
that.
long,
They did that in
bro.
Chicago.
Yeah, we've reacted to
We've
videos of
seen
them in
videos of
Chicago
people
doing
doing
that.
Bro, a rifle.
Yes.
They do
People
that.
do that. I've seen people do that.
Yeah, they put it.
Who y'all seen with a
you could
rifle?
just
On
you could-
video.
You can take it apart.
We did it. We
You
watched
could
the
just
video
take
of
You
it.
could take the upper off the lower and put it in your pants and carry it.
But I've
Just
seen, they had
reattach it.
the AR-15 in the pants down the leg.
Yeah,
People do that.
But no, he got hit with a sniper like a.
They said it was a
like
bolt action, like a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
Which could be about the same size as an AR.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's
I
possible.
mean, I mean,
All right, this is
putting
okay.
it in the pants and
Well, here's the rifle in question. The rifle's metal ends here. Do you see my mouse, hopefully? It ends just under the scope, the metal part, and then it extends way over here. Look at all this butt stock hanging off the back of this gun that you've got to fit down your pants. Or you use the screwdriver we found on the roof and you remove this screw while you're parked in your car, and you remove all of this wood from the left way over to the right, making this part possibly easily concealable in your backpack, and shoving this part, and remember the scope can be removed and then reinstalled too with a screwdriver, shoving this part down your pants. So it's possible. It's extremely possible. Would this fit with an AR-15 size? Sure. I'll go find out and prove it to you. But this rifle breaks into two pieces. All of this metal and all of this wood, making it much more concealable. As a matter of fact, if you had a nice little sniper professional attaché case, you would probably have it broken down with the metal on one little foamy memory foam part and the wood on another memory foam part and the scope on another memory foam part, and you'd whip out your screwdriver, you'd lay the metal in the wood and attach one screw, and you'd put the scope on it, and you'd only really need a screwdriver if it's got the thumb screws on it, and attach your scope. 30 seconds, you're ready to go. I don't know what people don't get about this, Candace. So there's different versions of that rifle, but generally speaking, let's look. How long is it? 42 inches, 45 inches. This is overall assemble length, 40 inches. So we're looking at 40 to 45 inches overall. What's the barrel length? 20 inches, under 2 feet, 24 inches, under 2 feet, 22 inches, under 2 feet. Oh, here's 24.4 inches for magnum length calibers. Okay, we're not talking about some huge thing here you are going to have difficulty hiding, okay, Candace? So this is just a couple of examples of Mauser stocks. This is just wood. This is not a firearm. This is not needed to fire a bullet out of this rifle. This is meant to make it much more convenient and comfortable to shoot that rifle, so you're not holding the metal, okay? But none of this is a firearm. But look at the length of this thing, okay? Once you separate this from the metal upper, you now have two shorter pieces, Candace. I mean, we can even go to ProMag Industries and buy a really evil-looking assault weapon version of the stock. Here's another evil stock we could add, and that's not the same rifle. Here's a nice little thumbhole stock that looks very evil to the Democrats. It's obviously for assaulting people. So I couldn't get their website to open. This is somebody in Idaho. But here you are. This is just an example. Here's a metal upper, okay? And it could have the it actually would have the trigger and all that installed as it dropped back into the piece of wood. But look how small this is. This is 24 inches, 26 inches, whatever it is, okay? Once we separate it from that huge wooden stock into two separate pieces, we have two highly portable pieces. Was this shoved down his pants? Is he going to take the chance of walking down that street with a limp with this thing shoved? Well, the guy's an idiot. Maybe he did. But I think what actually happened is he walked into the campus, reconnoitered security, left, got in his car, drove his car into campus, secreted this stuff into the building, and then later on we see him walking with this distinguishing limp in front of the Ring cameras all the way to the building, the FBI says, because they have video of him entering the building with a limp. But he loses the limp once he gets on the stairwell. Well, I believe he secreted the gun there in the morning, okay, after he reconnoitered the place, got in his car, drove on campus, dropped all this off, left campus, changed his clothes. At 11:30, walks in with a limp so that when people are looking for the shooter, he has a really bad limp on his right leg. We noticed that until he jumped off the roof and lost his limp. So that would blow the whole theory right there. So did he just give up on the limp once he was all adrenaline pumped up? Or did he have the gun in his pants? Who cares? Okay, so far, nothing she is telling us is baffling me. But I have critical thinking skills.
11:52 a.m., and we were actually going to check this, by the way, but I think that we had the FBI say that was when he arrived on campus. Maybe that's not accurate. So let me just skip off of that, because, Skylar, we should actually look to research that. But at 12:23 p.m. is when Charlie Kirk is shot, okay? And 12:23 p.m. is when in that same minute is...
So she throws something out there, then sort of retracts it. This is some really sloppy stuff coming from her, but let's go.
When we have footage that shows us that as as the crowd ducks, and it's blurry, the shooter runs across the rooftop. I'm going to tell you why that's significant. So 12:23, Charlie Kirk is shot, and we are going to have an angle of that and the image of the black person in black rather, that is running across the rooftop. Take a look at this. They're down, clearly. And right away, look at that, okay? And we have another, so the footage shows us, there's another actually clip that I was looking for, Skylar, there, that actually shows him running across the rooftop. You guys may have seen it. The reason why that footage is problematic, as you start to see them ducking and then you see the shooter immediately start moving across the rooftop, is that their narrative is that he disassembled the gun and then started running. So that's a bit...
Their narrative is that he disassembled the gun and then started running. You know, the very first time I ever heard that narrative? This video. I have never heard a narrative that said he then disassembled the gun and ran with it. As a matter of fact, from day one of the shooting, I have shown you him with the assembled gun running across the roof. So I don't know where they're getting... see, you throw something out there that evidently was never a narrative, claim it's a narrative, and now you've got a conspiracy theory. If they had claimed on day one, let's say, for the sake of argument, that he then broke the gun down and ran away, well, he left a screwdriver on the roof, probably from assembling it, not disassembling it, but okay. If he disassembled the gun and took it down with him and ran away into the woods a few hundred yards away, why did he reassemble the gun? Because that's how they found it, fully assembled, with a spent casing inside and 2 or 3 unspent rounds with engraving on them. This makes no sense what she's saying, unless you're unless you're trying to build a total misinformation narrative for clickbait. Okay, so let's go back and look at my video here. Well, here's a guy running, and look, lo and behold, there's something sticking out in front, and there's something sticking out way in the back here. What do you think that is? I think it's a rifle. Okay? I believe that we have a towel laying on the ground. The rifle's laying on top of the towel. He's taking aim. He fires. He flips the towel up, picks up the rifle. Because who wants to run away with a rifle in plain view going down the side of the building? See the towel flapping in the wind? Bends the rifle up in the air. We can still sort of see the rifle now. It's down. He's running. There's the rifle sticking out in front. He's running, carrying the rifle down in his right arm, looks like. Doesn't look broken down to me. Don't let facts and video get in your way, Candace. Oh well. I'm not even sure if I just played that or not. Hold on, I gotta go back. See, I don't know if I was recording or not. So anyhow, I'm gonna do this one more time. Here's the object. This is the very first frame of the video she's referencing about the rooftop. And we see some kind of, this is a person, okay, that we see here. And look at the thing sticking out from both sides. This isn't their arms or legs. What this appears to be is a rifle wrapped in a towel, with the towel flapping in the wind as the person runs. And then they turn the rifle up the same, to be vertical with their body, presumably to hide it. But let's watch. They're still running across the rooftop. They're about to disappear in a few frames. And we see it sticking out in front again. Now they're running with their right arm swinging back and forth, with the gun moving back and forth with their body. It's pretty obvious to me that there's no broken down weapon here, nor I have never heard a narrative that the weapon was broken down. And had they maintained that the weapon was broken down, I think all of us would have said, then why was it found fully assembled in the woods? None of us ever said that, because none of us ever heard this this narrative that the gun was broken down on the roof before it was taken off the roof. I've never heard that until Candace Owens threw it out here. So I don't know where that came from.
Confusing to us of how he was able to do that so quickly. An unbelievable amount of hunters, guns, people that...
Okay, she's going on and on about the gun was broken down on the roof and then removed from the roof. I've never heard that till Candace Owens said it here. So I don't, and like I said, had somebody been pushing that narrative from day one to now, all of us would have said, then why was it fully assembled in the woods? None of us ever said that because we never heard what she's saying here, that the narrative is it was broken down on the roof and then removed from the roof. I've never heard that. So, you know, her Pinocchio nose has gotten even bigger.
Then, and this is obviously the craziest part of everything, we have decoy. Everything, we have decoy.
Hold on, last.
So, my video's getting screwed up because these guys keep stopping the video and throwing stuff in here, interrupting her. So let's see where they go from here.
And whatnot.
This is fishy.
It's very fishy.
That is...
Ad.
Then, and this is obviously the craziest part of everything, we have Decoy Boy, right? So it happens and suddenly this guy, George Zinn, gets arrested. He's making noise. He's signaling that he's somehow shot the guy. And at 12:52, it gets announced that the suspect is in custody. So nobody needs to look around anymore because this suspect is in custody. But actually, I guess George Zinn just does that. He just does that, I guess, like just wants people to think he's done something but he hasn't actually done anything. That, again, to me feels like he's a decoy. Like more people are involved in this, and I will say that. We don't know, but we know that something's wrong with this. Then at 12:29 p.m., we have TMZ showing us that there's a person running through the backyard. They are saying this appears to be the suspect.
Okay, let's go back to George Zinn because I broke news about him before anybody else did. Way, way, way back about who this idiot is, okay? Now, why was Zinn initially targeted by the police at the shooting? Did he say, I shot him? That's not what he said. What he said was, I would do it again. This is milliseconds after the shooting, okay? He screams out, I would do it again. And he's pretty close by the stage. So if you're standing around a guy, somebody's just been shot, you don't know who shot him, and then this dude here goes, I'd do it again. What would be your assumption? That he was the shooter, right? They signal him out to police. Police pick him up. He then goes off the rails. I shot him. That's what the police say. The police say he told them he shot him. The police are dragging him out, and he starts screaming, shoot me, shoot me. At some point, his pants fall off. People start screaming at him, and he's, brought out of there, and it's reported, we have the shooter. Did the FBI have him? No, the local cops had him. Did the local cops say, as a matter of fact, they were dragging him away, and one person said, is he the shooter or something? The cop says, I don't know. He says he shot him. That's what we know. This is fog of war, seconds, minutes after the shooting. All of this is suddenly happening. To the average person of average intelligence, would you assume they got the shooter? The guy says he's done it. Witnesses say he stated, I'd do it again. Okay? Well, would you assume they have the shooter? I would. Okay? Some crazy guy with a handgun shot him. That's what I thought. So if you're at the FBI and you're not involved in this case yet, the FBI's not there. They're not providing security. They're not doing anything. It's a local police issue. As a matter of fact, the local police aren't even there. They have 6 campus security guards running this thing, and then a couple cops are out there on the fringes doing something, and they end up taking the guy into custody, sheriff's department or whatever. So if you're at the FBI watching a local crime, a local event, and the locals say, we have a suspect in custody, as the FBI, what are you going to say? Oh, yeah, they got the guy. Because they said so. Okay, we have a shooter. We're not looking for anybody else right now. But the FBI wasn't on the ground right that second. All right, so anyhow, I'm not making excuses for the FBI. I'm just saying Cash Patel should have shut up and not said anything at that point because nothing was confirmed. So anyhow, as time goes by, they charge this guy with obstruction, and they claim he says that the reason he did all this was to provide time for the shooter to get away. So we have 2 things to consider here. This guy's totally nuts, okay, and just coincidentally happened to be there and cause all this falderall, or he's somehow tied to the assassination. Well, I don't care either way. It's one or the other. It doesn't matter. He's also been charged with child porn. But what I broke to everybody before any of the media did was, who is this guy? Okay? This guy is a professional troll of public events since the 1980s. Okay? He goes to campaign stuff. He goes to political meetings. He goes to zoning board meetings. He goes to school meetings. And whatever's going on, he takes the opposite. Okay? That's what he does. And then he stands up and starts making speeches or being disruptive, whatever. That's what this guy's done since the 1980s. He's a nut. He's a troll. He has been arrested several times on misdemeanors in that area. The cops there know him, okay? He stood in traffic, blocking traffic. The cops told him repeatedly to get out of the traffic. And he said, no, the cars can just stop or go around me. I'm not moving. They arrested him, okay? That's the kind of crazy stuff this dude does. And he's not retarded or a moron. He's a fast-thinking public speaker, okay? He can react real quick to a situation and just create, speech that fits his trolling narrative. That's who he is. At one point, they arrested him and attempted to change his misdemeanor charge or drop it in exchange for him voluntarily committing himself because he's a nutbag. He refused and took the charge instead. So they've attempted to institutionalize him and have failed in the past. What other things has this guy done? He went to a Republican National Convention, basically trespassed and broke in and walked around the place, okay? And the then current Department of Education Secretary liked him so much that he had them put a cot in his room so he could stay at the convention and had a room to sleep in, okay? He then attempted to do that at another Republican National Convention because he is well known among Republican candidates and stuff, governors, everybody. I mean, there's pictures of him with them, and they're smiling, and they're like, oh, I know I was in trouble when George showed up, okay? So he's very, very well known, okay? He attempted to do this at a second RNC, and security knew about him, picked him up immediately, and drug him out of the building to the protest of some of the Republican people there. They're like, no, let George stay. So not, he's funny, right? So now that we know what a nutbag George is, okay, and George has gone there, obviously he wants to be one of the people that, if you don't buy that he's there as part of the assassination attempt, which I don't think he was, or he could be, who knows, but I don't think he was. His purpose in being there was he wanted to get up there and get on camera with Charlie Kirk, and he was going to post some ridiculous bullshit, whatever it was. But anyhow, when Charlie gets shot, he's got a great opportunity now. He's looking for limelight. He's looking to troll. He's looking to be ridiculous. So what does he do? I'd do it again. And that's probably all he wanted to say. I don't know if he thought that was going to go the way it went. But as things go the way it went, he's ready to roll with the punches. He's done it in the past. He's doing it now. This guy's totally debunked Candace, and you should have gone and done the research on who is George Zinn. Okay? If you think Trump's a troll, this guy, in a really crazy manner, attempts to out-troll everyone in the world since 1980. Okay, so that's who George Zinn is. Candace, I've really lost so much respect for her because either she's got a neurological problem, okay, and has just really gone off the rails, or she's got some Trump derangement syndrome thing and doesn't want to become part of the left, but she doesn't want to be part of the right, and doesn't want to be part of the middle, and has just decided to do just stupid stuff on the internet. Or she's decided that her only audience for money is to do stuff like this so that she can, because there's a lot of people out there on the left and the right making videos and all that stuff that just put out preposterous, stupid stuff. I don't think any of them believe for a minute the stuff that they're putting out there, but it gets them views, and views are clicks, and clicks are money, okay? So, take it for what it's worth. So far, she has added nothing to anything with what she said here.
Arrested. He's making noise. He's signaling that he's somehow shot the guy. And at 12:52, it gets announced that the suspect is in custody, so nobody needs to look around anymore because this suspect is in custody. But actually, I guess George Zinn just does that. he just does that, I guess, like just wants people to think he's done something but he hasn't actually done anything. That again to me feels like he's a decoy, like more people.
Well, maybe you wouldn't feel that way if you do your research and find out who this guy is before you assume, well, maybe he just did this, but that sounds kind of crazy. Yeah, because he's crazy, Candace.
Then at 12:29 p.m., we have TMZ showing us that there's a person running through the backyard. They are saying this appears to be the suspect running. Okay, now we're going to show you that clip. It is very grainy. So they're alleging that that's him. We couldn't confirm that, and the feds have not confirmed that. But it does show you that someone's running across the back. Again, that's at 12:29 p.m. I don't know. We don't know. I'll give you some other facts that you should probably know.
Okay, so it could have been him. I don't care. It probably was him. What's the point there other than... All right, so let's move on.
Just in general, that has been thus far confirmed. The weapon, they say, was found in the woods, and it was wrapped by a dark towel. Okay, now, when they gave us a...
Well, if you're wearing dark clothes and you plan to run away with your weapon, you're probably going to wrap it in a dark towel. And we saw a dark object flapping behind the shooter as he ran off the roof, which was probably the dark towel that the fully assembled weapon was wrapped in. But let's go forward.
A photo of that weapon. It was fully assembled. So this is kind of what Michael Savage is saying. He's saying, okay, so then they reassembled it, or maybe the feds did. Maybe they're going to clarify that they reassembled it for a photograph. But we are told...
The feds would not reassemble a weapon for a photograph. Come on. It's evidence, okay? It's going to be kept as it's found.
That it was found wrapped in a dark towel. Then we have been told that a screwdriver was found on the roof. So they're sticking to this implication that he perhaps undid this gun while he was on the rooftop, and he, wanted to make sure he unscrewed it with the screwdriver, left the screwdriver behind, but took the gun, but then left the gun in the woods. Okay. Then...
Okay. What makes you think the screwdriver was used to disassemble the weapon on the roof, when in fact it was probably used to assemble the weapon on the roof? Again, I've never heard this narrative that the shooter fired one shot, although he had multiple rounds, and then took the screwdriver, unscrewed the weapon, and then did what with it? He has two pieces now. And then did something with it and ran across the roof. I've never heard this narrative, Candace. You're the only person that's pushing this narrative that I know of, that the shooter then disassembled the weapon, when from day one we've seen the full-length weapon wrapped in something flapping behind the guy. We've seen that since day one, hours after the shooting, okay? And then hours after the shooting, they find the assembled weapon. So I don't know what she's after here, other than trying to say they're lying to you. Because the common theme on YouTube that's getting hits, the FBI's lying to you, the FBI's lying to you, the FBI's lying to you. Well, they're only lying to you if people present you stuff that the FBI never said, okay, as facts that aren't in facts. I've never heard anyone say that the shooter then disassembled the weapon, left the screwdriver on the roof. If he was disassembling the weapon before he left with a screwdriver, don't you think he'd take the screwdriver with him? However, if he was assembling the weapon just before the shooting with a screwdriver and put the screwdriver maybe in the towel that the weapon's laying on, and then laid down, took aim, and fired, and then now he's got to go, man. It's pumping, adrenaline's going, got to go. Flip the towel up, throw it over the gun, and run, and the screwdriver falls out. Okay? That's why it's left behind with his DNA on it. Okay, let's listen to some more of Candace's ravings. Okay, so I just watched what she's about to say here, and let me preface and let me put in your brain some information that's been filed in the probable cause statement to the courts, and it's based on evidence in not the FBI's hand. This is the state. The FBI has not charged this guy with anything. They don't have a probable cause statement. This comes from the state and evidence they have in their hands, okay? And the evidence they have in their hands says that the shooter put the rifle under a bush, okay? and that the shooter then changed his clothes. The shooter then exited those woods towards his vehicle. The shooter then stayed in the area, surveilled the area, trying to figure out if he could get back in the woods and retrieve his weapon. He's now in different clothing in his car. Nobody's looking for the person dressed like he is in that vehicle. However, he can't get back in the woods because of a law enforcement presence. There's at least one cop car sitting outside those woods, securing the area, and if he attempts to walk in those woods, that cop's probably going to stop and say, "What are you doing?" He doesn't know they've found the weapon by now. It hasn't been released, and he's monitoring to see if they found it. At that point, he's going to leave. He's trying to get the weapon. He's not dressed in his clothes. Okay, so you got that? He shoots him, runs away, goes in the woods, pushes the gun under the bush because he's got to leave those woods and get to his car, and he doesn't know who's out there and is going to see him carrying this long object and a towel after he's changed his clothes. So he tries to hide the weapon, reconnoiter the area, figure out if he can get away with getting the gun out of the woods into the car, and figures he can't do it. But he's in his changed clothes. It's important for you to understand where this clothing change happened, according to the charging documents and irrefutable evidence about when he changed his clothes. That is irrefutable. He changed them in the woods with the gun. Now let's listen to what she has to say here. As she attempts, evidently, to use the material she learned in that chaos book about the Manson murders to further sow disinformation, confusion, and chaos. So I don't know why she's doing this, but that's what she's doing, knowingly or unknowingly. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Okay. Then we get, and this has not been contextualized, and I can't wait until it is contextualized, we get photos that are the shooter. This is when the FBI came out and said he's in a stairwell. We don't know exactly where that stairwell is. He's in outfit number 2, so the outfit change has happened, okay? There's no timeline again, but we can discern that there is no weapon that is in his pant leg because we can see him bending one leg in one photo, and we can see him bending the other leg in another photo. So we're unclear about this.
Too many
What is clear is that
Hold on.
Way too many. She's poking holes in this story.
And it's not like hard. Like the biggest thing for me was the gun disassembled, and then they posted the gun assembled.
Yeah.
So if that's a murder weapon, why would you be touching and messing with it and reassembling it? That is.
He's a critical thinker. You wouldn't reassemble a disassembled weapon. So obviously it was fully assembled when whoever found it.
I'm not a police officer or
That doesn't
investigator.
sound right.
That doesn't sound. I feel like you're supposed to leave everything as found. So was it like if
I don't
this is
know.
it? Either you're lying about this being the gun because you said it was disassembled, or lying about it.
Who said it was disassembled? Until this video, I have never heard a narrative that the gun was disassembled on the roof and then found assembled in the woods. Never heard it till today, 11 hours ago.
Being disassembled.
I don't know. The whole story is fishy because it's like, oh, there's an old guy, and then it turns out it's not the old guy. Then they find some
Well, I've explained that. We'll move on.
random kid that's got a right-wing family, and now he's LGBTQ activist and been brainwashed, and now he got a trans roommate. Now they released the text messages between the trans roommate.
Yeah, and they were
It's-
saying the roommate basically is just like kind of ratting about everything.
This shit, I mean, it's just too many inconsistencies. It just feels all of the holes she's poking in the story is just poking in the levels of convenience. We have
Well, I can poke holes in the story if I lie to you or present you stuff and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, look at this. She's going to refer back to the stairwell thing. So I guess she's inferring that he's in the building that he shot from. And no, hold on. That can't be true because we know he ran across the roof. So he never would have used the stairwell in the building. This clothing, she doesn't make any sense. She's totally out to, I don't know what she's out to do. But this is bunk. This is bunk, baloney bullshit here, okay? And hopefully these guys, the Cartier family, kind of figure this out on their own, that this is just total BS. Candace has just gone off the rails. I've looked at her videos over the last couple of months going, what is going on with you? Okay, she's just out there. She's in outer space. Okay, so I've turned 11 minutes of their video into 50 minutes. Okay, so I'm not going to watch the other whatever it is minutes here. It seems like they go off and go to other stuff. I don't care what else Candace has to say, because everything she's brought up I've totally debunked as making no sense at all. We know she's got a video. We don't know where it came from. It's before the video the cops are using. Her video is not on campus. Their video is on campus. He shows up, reconnoiters the area. Can I get my car in? Then shows up with his car. None of this is false. But the way she's portraying bits and pieces to you, it's false. She's providing misinformation. So at this point, as far as I'm concerned, Candace Owens, for whatever reason, is a disinformation specialist. And I just can't listen to her anymore.